There are going to be shoes on this list that did not come out in 2023. These are my favorite shoes that I ran in 2023. It is the best of shoes. It is the worst of shoes. It is all of the shoes that I ran in. Recovery day, daily trainers, threshold slash super trainer slash whatever we're calling this disaster of a category, speed days, and race day shoes. Okay, so here's how it works. I went back to January 1st like a nerd and I found every single shoe that I ran in for every day. So for each category, I'm gonna have my top 3 shoes that I ran in the most, which isn't necessarily my top 3 shoes for that category. Then I'm gonna tell you my favorite 3. And the reason I'm doing this is because also not every shoe brand came out with a new release in 2023. For example, New Balance, they had the Rebel V3 come out in 2022. There was no Rebel V4 in 2023. It's coming in 2024. And yet I ran in it a lot, so I've got to account for it. Oh my God, I feel like I'm trying to explain the rules of a board game. Please don't tune out. Let's get started. Daily trainers. Coming in at number 3 is the Rebel V3 with 232.6 miles. Coming in at number 2, we have the ASICS Metaspeed Sky Negative at 238.5 miles. And number 1, we have the New Balance SC Trainer coming in with a whopping 368 miles. Now, regardless of whether or not these shoes fall into traditionally another category according to the brand or your ridiculously stupid opinion, this is how I use them. Also, you might be thinking, look at this guy, what a chin. I want to punch him in it for calling my opinion ridiculously stupid. Disclaimer, if you're new to the channel and you haven't caught on yet, I joke a lot and I do apologize. Your opinions are valid. Also, you may be thinking 839 miles between 3 shoes, and this guy's gonna tell me about the current state of daily trainers. Listen, Dumbledore, I ran in a lot of other shoes as well. 90 miles this year in the Nova Blast 3, put in 60 in the Endorphin Speed, I put in 60 in the Trinusa, I ran in the Vomero, I ran in the Boston 12, I ran in the SC Trainer V2. We'll get to those shoes later. My main point is that I buy my own shoes. The brands, they don't send me anything. Trust me, I've asked. Maybe you shouldn't call people Dumbledore. It's a compliment. Have you seen the movies? Listen, Rebel V3, this gets the award for do-it-all shoe. I took it on long runs, 16 and a half, 18 miles. I did speed workouts in it. I did daily miles in it. I even touched on some recovery. Coming in at number 2, the Metaspeed Sky, which has over 500 miles total now. It is the shoe that will not die. It's my Betty White or my Bob Barker. I don't know who lived longer on that one. My Betty Barker is what it is. The plate is so rigid and there's not a whole lot of foam up front, and with the rocker technology, it just gives you eternal energy return. For me, anyway, especially at steezy paces. And it's nice because it's super shoe light as far as the weight goes. The only drawback with it is that lack of foam you kind of feel up at the front in my toes after about 13 miles. So I can't do long runs with it, but I love it for a lot of my daily runs. Number 1 is still my shoe of the year from the year prior. It's going to be the SC Trainer. The SC Trainer. So predictable. Okay, so this year I used it a lot less at marathon pace and tempo efforts, and I used it mostly for daily and recovery runs. I kind of split the two, and as the shoe accumulated so many miles, I kind of stayed away from the recovery. Okay, on to the next genre. We're gonna go to threshold slash tempo slash super trainer slash whatever this genre has become. I'm not sure I know the difference between tempo and threshold. Can you mansplain it to me? Marathon pace, tempo, half marathon pace, threshold, 10K, 5K, 3K, 1 mile. This category covers everything from marathon pace to threshold. The Thursday run. Is that fair? That's fair? Threshold category, honorable mention, Puma Deviate Nitro Elite V1, 52 miles. Number 3, we have the ADIDAS Adios Pro 2 coming in with 109 miles. Number 2, we have the ADIDAS Adios Pro 3 coming in with 127 miles. And coming in at number 1, we've got the GOAT, the Alpha Fly number 1, coming in at 143 miles split between 2 separate pairs. All right, now those were my threshold day usage winners. If I had to do my favorites, I would say I need to split this category to threshold day, Thursday run, and long run, which usually has marathon pace, up to threshold efforts in it. For the strictly threshold, I would say the Puma Deviate Nitro Elite V1 comes in as my honorable mention, and the Adidas Adios Pro 2 would be my number 1 shoe of 2023 for the threshold day category. For my long runs, I would say runner up the Adios Pro 3 honorable mention, and number 1 the Alpha Fly, which makes the most sense because I ran marathons in the shoe. Recovery day shoes, shoes, coming in at number 3 is the 1080 V13 with 35 miles. Coming in at number 2 is the Adidas Primex Strung. I put 153 miles in it. And number 1, the SC Trainer with 368 miles. Now, if I had to rate these shoes, I would flip them. So my number 3 shoe would be the SC Trainer. Number 2, I'm still gonna put the 1080 V13 right there. It's a great shoe to walk in. It's only one note. It really only can do recovery. It does it really well. And coming in at number 1 is the Adidas Primex Strung. I know it is lighter on paper than it feels on foot. I just have a hard time getting the legs turned over. And on recovery days, when I just am really feeling it, my body just reaches for the Primex Strung. Speed day shoes. Coming in at number 3, we have the Nike Vaporfly with 56 miles. Coming in at number 2, the Takumi Sen 8 with 112 miles. And coming in at number 1, we have the New Balance SC Trainer with 114 miles. Okay, now that was the usage. Actually, as far as my favorites go, they're all kind of in a different order. I would say at number 3, my third favorite for the prescribed speed day distance is the SC Trainer V2. Very pleasant surprise. It's one of the only super trainers that paid off on the up-tempo or fast day stuff. And I think it's because they added more of the fuel cell foam that's really bouncy up in the forefoot. I could really feel it as I went through. Now I had 114 miles, but maybe only about a third were at faster stuff. It is a sneaky little sneaker. Number 2, I went with the Vaporfly. I use these for intervals, but like mile repeats, 1K, 2K repeats, something where I'm going to be going out for longer distance, not stuff as short and snappy. For that, I used the Takumi Sen 8. It's the GOAT. It was my winner last year. It's winner this year. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's probably going to win next year. On to Cincinnati. Okay, for my best race day shoes, I'm only gonna tell you about shoes that I actually raced in because I can't tell you about shoes that I didn't race in. For the Austin 3M Half Marathon, I ran it in the Adidas Adios Pro 2 PB, super wonderful. For the Woodlands Marathon and the Buffalo Marathon, I took the Alpha Fly 1.0 both times. Today, I ran a half marathon, the San Antonio Rock and Roll Half Marathon in the New Balance SC Elite V3. I loved that shoe, but today I wanted something a little bit more snappier underfoot. I mean, I really feel like I can glide in the shoe. I feel like it's really light. I do feel energy return. It is soft, but I was missing a little propulsion. All right, before we move on to the worst shoes of the year, so dramatic, most disappointing anyway, I've added another category. Here's my favorite new YouTuber from 2023. It's gonna go to Joanna. He's a shoe tuber. He covers the shoes. He posts daily. He's like a stateside Ed Bud without the musical interludes or the accent, but don't hold that against him. He does bargain deals like almost every weekend, I believe. When Ed Bud does those, he's like, you can get the Alpha Fly 1.0 for like negative $11 right now, and I just get sad because I don't live in the UK and they don't I can't buy them. Anyway, I'll put a link to his channel below. Go check him out, subscribe, all those good things. The worst channel of 2023. You, midlife runner, hands down. What a tryhard, am I right? Anyway, let's get to the worst shoes. By worst shoes, I really just mean most disappointing or shoes that did not work for me. For speed day and for max cushion, I'm gonna go to the same brand. I'm gonna go to Skechers. Skechers Razor XS2 and the Max Road 6 as far as the max cushion goes. Both these shoes kind of have like a little speed bump. I feel like in the bottom, in the midsole, you know, to help shape your foot when you're in there. But when I'm running, I just feel it feels kind of hard in the middle of the run. I tried to get along with the shoes and we were not compatible. So I swiped whatever direction when you don't want that person. I wasn't around for all of the swiping. Swipe or no swipey. Okay, now for the worst daily trainer, we're gonna go with Nike, and it's not what you think. You thought I was gonna say Pegasus 40, but it's actually gonna be the Vomero. The Vomero is a very nice shoe, and it's very plush, but it's like a plush daily trainer, and they're trying to market it like a max cushion shoe, but it's like max cushion shoe of the year if the year was 2018. Now, it is by no means a bad shoe, it is just not on the same level as its competitors. Moving on to the worst threshold day shoe, it's gonna be the Endorphin Speed 3. I know it came out in 2022, but the next version 4, doesn't come out until 2024. And for me, to sum it up, the shoe, it lost its edge, it lost its snap, my foot kind of bottoms out. It's not as exciting. It's a very well constructed daily trainer type of shoe, but I did not feel the need for speed. Okay, if you could do me a favor quickly, just slap the subscribe button for me. Slap in the bass, man. Okay, and finally, the worst race shoe of 2023. There's really no other way to say this without sounding like a complete ass. It's gonna be the